And I'm going to get my notebook over here. As you are trickling into this full moon and Leo collective tarot reading for all signs, let me know that you are here by saying hello in the comments below. Say hello to me, say hello to your neighbor. Feel free to put a blue heart in the comments below so that I know that you have arrived to our full moon and Leo reading. We're going to be time stamping all signs. We're going to do water signs, fire signs, air signs, and earth signs by groups. So we're going to do it for the full moon in Leo. All right, now that full moon in Leo is about broadcasting. It's not even about broadcasting yourself, but where have you been hiding? That's everything to do with the full moon in Leo. Where have you been hiding? Where have you been performing in your life? It's going to ask you to be brave, to be courageous, like the lion of the Leo, to be who you are, to be authentic, to dare to be yourself in this world. We don't attract anything in this world without being authentic, without being ourselves, right? Authenticity, that's the frequency that everything comes in from. Hi, Miss Kittens. How are you? Hello, Taurus, Pisces, Leo. Is that a Leo rising I see? Happy full moon in Leo. Feel free to put it in the comments below where you have Leo in your birth chart, as wherever you have Leo, it is where you're going to be most impacted. Again, remember that Leo is like the star, right, of the zodiac. It's the sun. And then you have Aquarius. What this transit is asking is, where can you own parts of your identity that serve the greater collective and good? Where can you own parts of your soul gifts and your soul expression that serve the collective greater good? Where in your life are you performing, right? Where you don't have to be performing, and where in life are you undervalued and unseen? It's asking you to showcase those things and to be comfortable, to be courageous, to be brave, to showcase those things. And really, it's just being brave to be your authentic self. That's the full moon in Leo, and you are a Leo moon, so you're feeling this one. All right, so, and yeah, and then it's also going to be asking you, where are you performing in certain areas of your life where it's not fully authentic? Leo has everything to do with authenticity, with being seen. And then Aquarius has everything to do with technology, right? With sacred service, with the collective. So in what ways can you own parts of your personality, parts that do make you authentic and that make you an individual? Not in a celebrity Leo kind of way, but hey, you're a bright and shining star. All of us have a soul star chakra, right? That portal, I like to say, of higher self, that soul star chakra about 18 inches above your crown. As we're shining that, and as we're living in alignment with that, we are all stars. We're all shining our soul light in this world. And if anything, those are the new stars, right? Those people who are just simply living in higher self alignment, soul star chakra, who are authentic. And then from there, of course, life is harmonious. Of course, you are receiving, etc. Leo rising, yes. Put it in the comments below wherever it is that you do have Leo in your birth chart. Today, we are going to be getting in a full moon in Leo tarot reading for all signs. We're going to be time stamping. So I'm going to start off with water signs. We love our water signs over here, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. After that, we're going to be doing fire signs. And again, I'll be time stamping it here so that we could put it in the comments below afterwards. As always, if you would like a $10 mini reading, feel free to Cash App or PayPal Goddess Energy 444. If there's any moderators in the comments that can write that down for me so I could pin it, that would be great. Thank you. And so we're going to do water signs, fire signs, air signs, and then earth signs for this full moon in Leo. How could I do fire signs second on the full moon in Leo? Because I love you, water signs. All right. Let's tap in. Are you close to Southern California? No, but I should be based on my birth chart. Hello, Wild K. Hello, how are you? Now, we're going to be grabbing 2 oracle cards per signs. We're going to start off with the water signs for the full moon in Leo, and then we're going to be grabbing some tarot over here. Thank you, Miss Kittens. Thank you for the donation. If anyone would like a mini reading, feel free to Cash App, or you can PayPal Goddess Energy 444. Thank you for the donation, Miss Kittens. Hello, Wild K. Hello, Span Workhorse. Thank you always for being here, Span Workhorse. I appreciate your comments. Now, what do we have for all signs today? We're going to start off with the water signs, though. For Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, all right, think about it. Where you have Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio in your birth chart, tap in, put it in those comments below. Universe is always conspiring in my favor. What do we have for Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio for the full moon and Leo? What do we have for Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio for the full moon and Leo? Might just be a throat clearing. And what do we have for Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio for the full moon in Leo? What do we have for Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio? We're going to grab from this deck over here. I like these new decks over here. Hello, hello, hello. Let me know that you have arrived in this live. We're going to be doing all signs, water signs, fire signs, air signs, and earth signs for the full moon in Leo. So let me know that you have arrived by commenting below. What do we have for Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio for this full moon in Leo? Why do we have strategy for this full moon in Leo? Open heart and then thinking. All right, and then strategy. So the mind and the heart, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, for the full moon in Leo, there's something about the mind and the heart. Hello, hello, hello. Thank you for being here. We do have strategy, open heart, receptive, empathy, vulnerable. Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, the full moon in Leo may ask you to be authentic by being vulnerable. I'm hearing the words, vulnerability is trustworthy. Vulnerability is trustworthy. When you are vulnerable, you're just real. Ooh la wah. Thank for the life. Thank the life for create this woman. Smiley face. Hello. So Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio for the full moon in Leo. There's a strategy of being vulnerable. You're going to have to wear your heart on your sleeve, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, for this full moon in Leo. Yeah, it's going to ask you to be vulnerable. Open heart, and that's the strategy, is to be real, right? To be authentic. Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. But being authentic may mean of like, it's kind of risky, right? And by that, I mean, look at that, High Priestess over here. Nothing's hiding. All right, full moon in Leo. Full moon is also revelations, right? Full moon is a release. Check out where you have Leo in your birth chart and also where you have Aquarius. But Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, right now for the full moon in Leo, nothing is hiding, and that is the strategy. What's going to get you through something is by being completely vulnerable, but to the point where it's kind of risky. And it ends up being a little bit better than you thought it would be. That authenticity was expressed with fire today. Oh, was it, Wild K? All right, now what do we have for Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio for this full moon in Leo? Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio for this we are on Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, Crystal Davis. And then afterwards we have fire signs, air signs, and earth signs. So this is going to be a longer one. We're going to do all signs for the full moon in Leo. So wherever you have prominent signs in your birth chart, feel free to listen. We're going to timestamp it too. All right, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. For this full moon in Leo, why do we have strategy and open heart, vulnerable, and empathy? For full moon in Leo, for the Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. For Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, for this full moon in Leo, why strategy, vulnerable? Why do we have strategy, open heart, and vulnerable? Why do we have strategy, open heart, and vulnerable? Full moon in Leo. Now, full moons are also about, again, like I said, releasing. I would like to remind all signs, doesn't matter who you are, we're approaching the February 13th portal. Right now is a time of closing things out. It's a time of releasing right now. Beyond the full moon energy, we are approaching this February 13th to the 17th portal of Neptune and Saturn. And then Neptune's going to do its thing again in March. Where basically, there's light that is coming through the collective. And I have chills as I say that. Divine, just crystalline light and codes. What does not serve your true organic new earth timeline is going to be released. Sometimes that looks like chaos. Sometimes that looks like cords being cut, like relationships ending, like things closing. The chaos is to order. And again, that's just for all signs. No matter who you are, this full moon in Leo, we're approaching a timeline split, February 13th. And I try not to use those words, but you have Saturn, Neptune. Confirmation honk as I say that, where again, I don't usually say things like that, but basically Saturn, Neptune, either dreams dissolve or you're going to start to see dreams start to come true. And it's going to be either one. And maybe even pivoting and dancing. Yes, exactly. So like, for example, look at your North Node. Where should you watch tarot readings? Sun sign. It could be moon rising, your Venus, your North Node. Those are definitely prominent, or your Jupiter. You could be any part of your birth chart, but those are the most prominent planets for you to watch. What is my big three? My big three is Pisces, Sag, and then my birth chart shifted a little bit. It's Scorpio for my rising now. And then for Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, yes, I'm doing all of them together. But yeah, those are my top three. It shifted a little bit. I have Pisces, Sag, and Scorpio rising. All right, now let's take a look at what's coming in this full moon in Leo. Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. There's a strategy. It's going to ask you to open the heart and be vulnerable. Let me tell you, by the end of this reading, I was going to say there's like nothing on, but like there's literally nothing on. Like you're vulnerable, okay? Symbolically. I'll cover this up. You're symbolically vulnerable, okay? By the end of this reading. That's the strategy though. Your vulnerability is actually going to open roads that you hiding things or pride and ego, right? Full moon in Leo wouldn't have been able to reveal for you or to you. For Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, for this full moon in Leo, why do we have strategy and vulnerability with open heart? Why the Knight of Pentacles for strategy and vulnerability? Okay, Empress card, Knight of Pentacles. That's routine. You know, this is you creating. This is you, for some of you, maybe even shifting around your schedule, your routine to create, to work, to manifest. For Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, this full moon in Leo, why do we have strategy, open heart, and vulnerability for Ace of Pentacles? Why Ace of Pentacles with the Two of Cups for vulnerability, open heart, and strategy? Yeah, you and this person are done. Okay. You do have Two of Cups, Two of Swords, Ace of Pentacles. Why Two of Cups, Two of Swords in the Ace of Pentacles for strategy, open heart, and vulnerability? Why do we have Two of Cups, Two of Swords, Ace of Pentacles for strategy and vulnerability? Through someone over here, this is, you experienced a financial loss through some sort of connection that you had over here. You had to cut something out over here. But it brings a financial cleanup a little bit. Why the Two of Swords here? Now it does say divided loyalties. Why the Two of Swords here? You end up over here with the Hermit card. Now, there's a connection in your life where maybe you do share foundation, you share abundance between one another, you share something here. You are actually being forced to step into your truth, which means walking away from someone. There's something about divided loyalties, with the Two of Swords over here, where you actually have to walk away from someone, and this wasn't face up, but Ten of Wands, completely. Where it's like whatever they did, whatever happened, this is actually like a boundary for you where it's just like, I actually have to walk away and cut this out completely. Yeah, you're going to have to walk away from someone. This has to do with like morals, divided loyalties. There's something that you have to stand on this full moon in Leo, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. But you have to stand on it to the point that you will walk away from this person or whatever this is. However, it's going to make you feel vulnerable. This person, whatever this is, Could be a job or a person. Two of Cups, Six of Wands, Ace of Pentacles, Death card, Two of Swords. There's some sort of stability with this person in some way, shape, or form. But what is the cost is what this is saying. Where this is going to force you, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, to be very vulnerable of it is worth everything I may lose, right? To walk away from this connection because this is not in alignment with my values or with my heart. And that's what I'm seeing over here. It's basically, you know, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, full moon in Leo, full moon release, right? Authenticity, not performing, just being authentic. In some sort of situation, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, it's more worth for you to lose out or get the short end of a stick than to remain in a connection with someone here. For Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, why do we have strategy, open heart, vulnerability for the full moon in Leo? Why strategy, open heart, vulnerability, Four of Coins with the Star card? Why Four of Coins with the Star card? The wheel does turn this way though. There you go, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, over here. And if there's any moderators or if anyone wants to be a moderator, feel free to put a red rose in the comments below and I will make you a moderator. What do we have for Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio? For strategy, vulnerability, open heart with Four of Pentacles and the Star card. Yeah, this is what ultimately does turn the wheel through a little bit of chaos over here. Why the King of Cups and the Wheel of Fortune for the full moon in Leo, for open heart and vulnerability. You're going to have to stand your ground over here. We have the Four of Cups. We have the Seven of Wands. Why Four of Cups and the Seven of Wands for this full moon in Leo? What Spirit is saying, look at that clarity, Ace of Swords over here. Thank you for the donation, Michael Wops. I'm sending you so much love. Thank you. We have here the Seven of Cups, the Four of Wands over here. There's more celebrations. There's more people where that came from. There's more options where that came from. You know, this... You had to walk away from someone that you really actually loved. But this was something that you have to stand on it. You know, like that term, standing on business. You're going to have to stand on business with this person. We have the Four of Cups. We have the Seven of Wands over here. And it's the only way that your wheel turns. Full moon in Leo, right? What is true to you? What is true to your foundation? And you definitely would want to do this before Neptune and Saturn. You know, Neptune, which rules, right, spirituality, illusions, the dream realm, and more. Saturn, routine, structures, you know, karma, discipline. What I see is, again, like this, it's more of a revelation of the foundation between you and this person was never completely true anyway, right? There's definitely something where it's worth walking away to stand up for yourself and your values with the Seven of Wands here. Now, what other full moon messages do we have for Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio? What else is coming in for Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio for the full moon in Leo? You have some work coming in. Be patient. It may come in like a Tower card, full moon in Leo. Look at that, 10 of Cups. Okay, something's going to make you happy over here. But be patient. You know, for this full moon in Leo, now there may be this mental emotional cleansing that brings in this opportunity for you. All right, again, you're going to have to walk away, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, for the full moon in Leo energy. But whenever you're watching this, it can be for you. You're going to have to stand on business. And you're going to have to stand your ground where it's worth losing. Even if it's losing a few dimes, a few quarters, shedding a few tears, it's worth walking away for your own dignity. Yeah, for your own dignity and your own values. All right, and then the wheel turns for you. And then what I do see is, now that's the cleansing, the clearing. Full moon is all about release. Tower card, Page of Swords over here, the Eight of Pentacles. Why Page of Swords and the Eight of Pentacles? We have the World card. Why Page of Swords and the Eight of Pentacles over here? And then King of Pentacles, security, okay? Now you are starting a brand new cycle with work, employment, you know, wealth and security over here. And this is true to your foundation, okay? Again, full moon in Leo is all about authenticity, And there's a connection here where, is it worth it? There's something here about shared values where you, or you're forced to walk away, and it's worth it, but it makes you very vulnerable. All right, and then what I see is a lot of opportunities coming in for work, okay? Like a tower card, look, it has chaos. The chaos actually brings in opportunities for work, okay? So that's what I have for you, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. We're going to grab some cards of advice for that full moon in Leo. What is some advice for the full moon in Leo? What is advice? Give it time. Trapped. Yeah, especially with the situation, you know, where I do see it's you walking away. We do have running over here. All right, time, waiting, cycles, and moments. Okay, like a tower, you do actually enter this new cycle. And there's something, there's some sort of message or call that you get about work over here. Okay, Page of Swords, some sort of communication about employment, about wealth, about prosperity. It's going to hit you like a tower in a good way. But there's the essence of time. Okay, for this full moon in Leo, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, you're coming out of one cycle of the heart, walking away from something that you had to walk away. You had to be vulnerable. And really, again, that Leo energy, right? What I see is putting down the pride and ego to do what it is that's best. We do over here have the card trapped, stuck. Yeah, stuck, tied down, or captive over here. Now, you may feel a little bit stuck. You know, I do see that you're very vulnerable. There is some form of loss, you know, and there's some form of vulnerability when it comes to walking away from this. What's another message for Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio for the full moon and Leo? Another message for the full moon and Leo. Distracted, sidetrack, change, or delays. Yeah, you know, full moon in Leo, I'm seeing time, trapped, distracted. Understand that Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, I do see that the chaos does come to order, where some of this is just reorienting you. Chaos is not necessarily bad. Sometimes chaos is the order of what we thought was order. And the chaos reveals the true order. And that's what we're getting over here. Hi, Talia. How are you? Hello, Marlon. How are you? I'm going to read this over here. Hi, I'm a Capricorn. We're going to do fire signs next. There goes the Leo energy. Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. Capricorn, he was disrespectful towards me. I now told him the end. He's messing with my mental. Anyone who messes with emotions, or like, say, for example, emotions, right? Mentally tries to project upon you, even say emotional, or even saying like too emotional, things like that. Those are usually spiritual, like, attacks. You know, there's so much of spiritual attack of words, right? Of emotionally or even mentally, where if they start to drain you in those ways, they're still taking your energy and sending you a spiritual attack. All right, now we're going to do fire signs. Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. Feel free to put it in the comments below where you have Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius. I am a Sagittarius moon. I have absolutely no Leo in my birth chart, but Leo is my 11th house. I only show up to the party to like bring the party, uplift it a little bit, and then my Pisces 12th house stellium himself is out of the party in about 3 seconds. My Leo in the 11th house, I'll show up and I'll show up for like 10 minutes to the party, and it'll be the life of the party. And then I'm going home and nobody even saw me go home. That's my Pisces Leo combo. All right. Put it in the comments below where you have Leo. 11th house is the house of like social groups and things like that. That's where my Leo is, but I don't have any Leo placements. All right. Not Pisces. Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. Tap in, put it in the comments below. Universe is always conspiring in my favor. Let's see, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. What's coming in for you, your fire sign, for the full moon in Leo? What do we have for the full moon in Leo? What do we have for the full moon in Leo for Aries, Leo, Sagittarius? The heart chakra. We do have woman or man holding a coin. Second, third house, Leo. Ooh, third house. So like a communication. Second house, Taurus, finances. I didn't say any questions, and I was responding to her, so we'll put that back. We do have mask over here. And only you, Divine Mother and Father, Holy Spirit of Light, Holy Spirit of God. Who's putting on a mask that it's only you? Let's not tap into that. Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. What do we have for the full moon in Leo? Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. What do we have for this full moon in Leo for Aries, Leo, Sagittarius? For Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, what do we have for this full moon in Leo? Full moon in Leo, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, what are you dealing with? You see my face. Yeah, the comment just because you saw my face. Oh, Lord, sweet baby Jesus Christ. Full moon in Leo. For the full moon in Leo for Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. What do we have for this full moon in Leo for Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius? What do we have for the full moon in Leo for Aries, Leo, Sagittarius? Who ran from you? Who ran from you or abandoned you? Did you run from someone or abandon someone, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius? I think you did, okay? Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, I think you did. Let's see. We do have obsession, infatuation, adoration, abandoned, left out, walked away, running, ghosting, disappearing, invisible. Aries, Leo, Sagittarius is someone trying to look for you. Are you trying to look for someone who has left your life? Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. Crystal Davis said, hell yes. Heaven yes. Why do we have the fourth chakra over here? Archangel Raphael. So there's definitely matters of the heart. Which full moon in Leo, right? Full moon is all about release. Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. What do we have for this full moon in Leo? Why do we have the heart chakra? Obsession, abandoned, and running. For Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, why do we have obsession, abandoned, and running for the full moon in Leo? And fourth chakra. For Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, for this full moon in Leo, why do we have obsessed, abandoned, and running? For the full moon in Leo, why do we have obsessed, abandoned, and running? And where is Aries, Leo, Sagittarius in this reading? This is not your energy, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. Somebody is thinking about you. Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. It's not your energy here. There's someone that's more obsessing over your absence, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. I almost want to say like you're haunting them, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. Now, for Aries, Leo, Sag, for this full moon in Leo reading, why the King of Pentacles for Aries, Leo, Sag energy in this reading? Ooh. Okay, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, you're showing up as the High Priestess and the King of Pentacles. Why are you so obsessed with me? I just want to know, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, why are they so obsessed with you? We just want to know. We don't know. All right, but somebody is. This is not your energy here, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. Someone feels your absence. And you can feel that, Aries, Leo, Sag. Why King of Pentacles and the High Priestess for Aries, Leo, Sagittarius for this full moon in, yeah, you walked away from this person. No, yeah, abandonment. For some of you, you walked away from this person. You sneakily walked away. Aries, Leo, Sagittarius over here. Oh. But for some of you, why Judgment in reverse for Aries, Leo, Sag for this full moon in Leo? There's a lesson that's not learned in love, Aries, Leo, Sag. It's not learned though. We have the card Truth here. Judgment in reverse, Ten of Cups. Long-term relationships. Why Judgment card in reverse and the Ten of Cups for Aries, Leo, Sag for this full moon in Leo? Now, why the Queen of Swords over here for Aries, Leo, Sagittarius for the full moon in Leo? Why the Queen of Swords for Aries, Leo, Sagittarius? Why the Ten of Wands for Aries, Leo, Sag for this full moon in Leo? Why the Ten of Wands for this full moon in Leo? And why the King of Swords for this full moon in Leo? It ends up being someone or something else. Why the Fool card, the Hangman, and the Queen of Swords for Aries, Leo, Sagittarius for this full moon in Leo? It ends up being someone or something else. Now, there's a lot of matters of the heart full moon for this full moon in Leo, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. You are learning a lesson of discernment here, of owning your truth and discernment. Where, yes, there's someone thinking about you. There's abandonment. You ran from them or you abandoned them. And they're kind of obsessed with your energy. Where there is someone from the past that's just like, what are they doing? What are they thinking about? Are they thinking about me? Are they, that kind of like obsession. You went completely ghost and invisible on this person. It was karmic over here as well. Now, there's someone new over here. It could be a Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. You're showing up actually as Libra, Gemini, Aquarius here. So Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. For the full moon in Leo, you are being asked to have a sharp sword. We do have Justice here. Where, full moon in Leo, especially for Leos, right? Leo, it can be performative, right? Fiery energy. It feels like the full moon in Leo is not the time to do anything sudden, right? Like fiery and that kind of energy. Reckless and taking risks. What I see is there's a connection that has given you such an awakening, Aries, Leo, Sag. Yeah, that last connection that you ghosted or walked away from, it gave you a big awakening. Full moon, the Hangman, you are not approaching things the same anymore, but it's people. Okay, we have the Three of Pentacles, the Ace of Cups, matters of the heart. Full moon in Leo, Aries, Leo, Sag, you had a karmic connection that you cut off all contact from. But it's actually giving you a huge awakening where you never want to almost like identify with anyone like that ever again. Now, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius for this full moon in Leo. Why the Empress with 10 of Wands? Now, it says peaceful resolution. Okay, we have the Empress, 10 of Wands. Knight of Pentacles, the 5 of Swords in reverse. What this almost feels like, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. You had such a bad connection here where it really, you get down to the foundation of why do I attract the things that and the people that I do? Like why? Why do I truly attract these situations and people? Like, and then truly, like the Empress over here, right? The Empress just sits and attracts. But the 10 of Wands over here, Aries, Leo, Sag, you have a connection that it just got so bad. It's like, I'm going to get to the root of whatever attracted this so that I uproot this and it never, I never attract this ever again. Again, obsession, abandoned, and running. You abandoned someone, you cut off all contact or walked away from someone. And it just became a lot over here. Okay, and the peaceful resolution to move forward, it feels like is of letting go of certain things that you didn't know you had to let go of, even certain limiting beliefs, right? Ways that you would relate to people. For Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, for this full moon in Leo, why 8 of Pentacles, Queen of Cups, and the King of Swords? Why 8 of Pentacles, King of Cups, and the Queen of Swords, and the King of Swords? Yeah, we have the 2 of Wands here. And then we do have the 5 of Pentacles. Why 2 of Wands and 5 of Pentacles? Why 2 of Wands and the 5 of Pentacles for Aries, Leo, Sag? Yeah, what I'm seeing is it's a choice of moving forward over here. It's also a choice to change your life. That's what's coming through over here. Oh my gosh, Lord, sweet baby Jesus Christ. Let me know if anyone wants to be a moderator. I just looked at the comments for a moment. I'm reading the comments over here. Yes, exactly. Made me better though. Found true self-love. Yes, where full moon in Leo, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. Now remember too that your energy was, you were in really good energy. Okay, you have King of Pentacles over there. You had the High Priestess. So you are in good energy, Aries, Leo, Sag. But there's a relationship here that it was just so bad that it's like, well, how do I identify with that? What did I ever do to identify with that? Now, Aries, Leo, Sag, I want to know what is coming in. Full moon is all about release, but what is coming in for this full moon in Leo for Aries, Leo, Sagittarius? Good luck, okay? Now, you do have 5 of Pentacles now in reverse, 5 of Swords. What this taught you, full moon in Leo, for Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, is picking and choosing your battles wisely. Where is it always worth that battle? Some battles are not meant to be picked. They're not meant to be chosen. What I'm also hearing is some bears are not meant to be poked. Do not poke that bear, Aries, Leo, Sag. After this, what I do see is improvement in luck and finances. Why 5 of Swords for what's coming in for Aries, Leo, Sag for the full moon in Leo? Why 5 of Swords for full moon in Leo? Yeah, you've got the power. And full moon in Leo, for Aries, Leo, Sag, it's kind of reminding you of your power, of like, hey, you know, you are not meant to be picking and fighting with those people. You're not meant to be in that environment. You're not meant to something over here. Right? Picking and choosing wisely. Is it worth it? Is it worth it over silly opinions, silly illusions, etc.? Why the King of Swords for Aries, Leo, Sagittarius for this full moon in Leo? Why the King of Swords? Yeah, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. You got it going on by the end of this reading. Ace of Swords. You got clarity now. Picking and choosing your battles over here. What can cost you, what can't cost you. Ace of Pentacles, the King of Swords. You have abundance, wealth, prosperity. You have good luck coming into your world, Aries, Leo, Sag, for the full moon in Leo. But I do see a connection that it actually was so bad where it's like, whoa, I'm going to get to the root of however it is that I attracted that. I see a little bit of accountability, Aries, Leo, Sag. All right, now we're going to do air signs over here. So we're going to do Libra, Gemini, Aquarius. Feel free to put it in the comments below where you have Libra, Gemini, or Aquarius. I'm an Aquarius, Jupiter, and Uranus. I'm not there. Wild K. Yes, all right. Tap in. Put it in that comment, or those comments rather, below. Universe is always conspiring in my favor for Libra, Gemini, Aquarius. For Libra, Gemini, Aquarius. Let's see for Libra, Gemini, Aquarius, what's coming in for the full moon in Leo. What is coming in for the full moon in Leo for Libra, Gemini, Aquarius? Okay, there goes the solar plexus, which has everything to do with Leo, the solar plexus. For Libra, Gemini, oh, there's another card, patience. Okay, for some of you, Libra, Gemini, Aquarius, you're calling back your power. You're calling back your authority. Okay, could be inner child as well with the solar plexus. What do we have for Libra, Gemini, Aquarius, for solar plexus and patience? For Libra, Gemini, Aquarius, for this full moon in Leo. Leo, why solar plexus and patience? Why solar plexus and patience for this full moon in Leo? We have escaping again. Why do we have solar plexus and patience for this full moon in Leo? for Libra, Gemini, Aquarius. For Libra, Gemini, Aquarius. And then broken over here. Now, full moon in Leo, there goes the tiger over here. Libra, Gemini, Aquarius. Tap in, put it in the comments below where you have it. What I see, there's something with the solar plexus over here. You're calling back your power. But there's a situation of like feeling disconnected from your power, Libra, Gemini, Aquarius. For the full moon in Leo, you're reclaiming your power, air signs. What do we have for Libra, Gemini, Aquarius? For the full moon in Leo, for solar plexus and patience. Why solar plexus and patience for the full moon in Leo? For Libra, Gemini, Aquarius. Why the solar plexus and patience? Why solar plexus and patience for this full moon in Libra? For full moon in Leo, for Libra, Gemini, Aquarius. By the end of this reading, it is asking you to be patient because things do end up working out. Now, why do we have this broken and escaping card for Libra, Gemini, Aquarius for the full moon in Leo? Yeah, what I do see is like needing patience over here. Where it says Page of Swords. I mean, then we do have the patience card that's over there. Did I drop a card? I don't think I did. Patience, and then you have the World card, Success. Libra, Gemini, Aquarius. For the full moon in Leo, it's asking you to have patience with your cycles of success, or with some sort of success that's coming in, where you're in this cycle of calling back your power, calling back your authority, really owning your power, owning all of your authority here. And I'm seeing that starting off with the Page of Wands. And then you really make it happen over here where by the end of this reading, Libra, Gemini, Aquarius with this full moon in Leo, you're owning your power and you're working towards something that seems very stable, secure, and you're building it, okay? So you're building by the end of this reading. For Libra, Gemini, Aquarius, for this full moon in Leo, why the Moon card? For Libra, Gemini, Aquarius, why the Moon card? Knight of Wands, and then we have the Six of Cups over here with the Moon card. And there goes the inner child card. Okay, so there could definitely be something of the inner child over here. Why the Moon card with the Six of Cups for Libra, Gemini, Aquarius for this full moon in Leo? Why the Moon card with the Six of Cups? Then Ten of Cups over here. There's definitely a focus on people. Why the Page of Wands for Libra, Gemini, Aquarius for this full moon in Libra? Why the full moon in Leo? Keep saying Libra for you Libras. Why, for the full moon in Leo, why do we have the Hangman and the Page of Wands for the full moon in Leo for Libra, Gemini, Aquarius? This full moon in Leo, Libra, Gemini, Aquarius is asking you to own your power. In a way, though, where it's like, hey, you have important things to say, Libra, Gemini, Aquarius. You're smart. You have important things to say. People actually want to listen to you. You have great creativity. You have great ideas and insights. Libra, Gemini, Aquarius, you deserve to take up space. You know, and what I am seeing over here with the Hangman, the Page of Wands, and the Emperor, again, it says authority. This is really you owning your authority, not seeing yourself as small, you know, or releasing the imposter syndrome, Libra, Gemini, Aquarius. And then by the end of this reading, you're building something pretty consistently. For Libra, Gemini, Aquarius, for this full moon in Leo, why Queen of Cups, Knight of Pentacles? Libra, Gemini, Aquarius, as you start to take up space, Six of Wands, you're building something that's going to be successful. But Libra, Gemini, Aquarius, what I'm actually seeing here is how does this success come in? By, number one, not escaping or walking away or, you know, downplaying your potential. You know, and what I do see again is this reading for you, Libra, Gemini, Aquarius. For the full moon in Leo, you completely release your imposter syndrome. All right, now what is the advice for this full moon in Leo for Libra, Gemini, Aquarius? What is the advice for full moon in Leo for Libra, Gemini, Aquarius? What Spirit is saying is you have a lot of potential for abundance and for success. Libra, Gemini, Aquarius. Now we do have the Five of Swords over here. And it says self-sacrifice, self-sabotaging behavior, Four of Cups. You know, where Libra, Gemini, Aquarius, what I'm actually seeing is like, say, for example, you're like, oh, I'm not going to go to that job interview. I'm not going to make that post online. That was the post that would have gone viral. That is the job that you were actually going to receive. What I see Libra, Gemini, Aquarius in the past is some cycles of actually self-sabotage where you would have done it. You would have made it. It would have been successful. And now, from now on, releasing the imposter syndrome, air signs, and just doing it. Doing it whether your voice shakes or whether you feel like you're ready or not. What's coming through is if the opportunity has presented itself, you're ready. All right. I'm going to grab some cards of Oracle advice. What do we have for Libra, Gemini, Aquarius for full moon in Leo? You are ready. Oh, Libra, Gemini, Aquarius, you are ready. It is Aquarius season. We do have victory, success, and abundance. Okay, so Libra, Gemini, Aquarius, you are ready for all of this abundance, this victory, this success. And actually, you've been ready for a long time. This reading is just showing the release of imposter syndrome over here. And as you do so, you are ready to reap all of your rewards that have been waiting for you. All right. So that's what I have for you, air signs. We're going to be doing earth signs now. Dun, 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 dun. The last group of signs for the full moon in Leo. Feel free to join the Patreon. We already uploaded a full moon in Leo reading and a ritual for the full moon in Leo too. The Patreon is Blue Rose Mystery School. All right, tap in, put it in those comments below still, earth signs. Put in the comments below that the universe is always conspiring in your favor, because it is, and wherever it is that you have earth in your chart. Don't ask where I have earth. I have North Node in Virgo. And Lilith, actually. My black moon Lilith is in Virgo. And North Node. And that's about it for the earth. Lovely Capricorn, yes, Christina. All right. For you lovely earth signs, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. I'm doing my own work and not answering to anyone but spirit. Love that. The universe is always conspiring in your favor. Yes, it is, because we know how energy works. All right, for Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. For this full moon in Leo, tap in Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. What is coming in for Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn for this full moon in Leo? You have multiple doors that are opening up for you, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Okay, we have adjacent possibilities. I'm a Leo ascendant moon. Yes, go check out where all of your placements are. What do we have for Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn for the full moon in Leo? Why adjacent possibilities? For some of you, you might have a secret admirer. Too many cards. Why do we have for Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn? Why do we have adjacent possibilities and resistance for the full moon in Leo? Oh. Apology. Ooh, the divine masculine's going to apologize. Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. What song? What song is it that's coming through? It's not too late to apologize. There's another song. Okay. Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. The divine masculine is about to apologize. Remember, divine masculine energy is just energy. It doesn't have to be, the physical embodiment. Apology. Oh, secret admirer, suppressing, timid. Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. You have someone that really wants to apologize to you this full moon in Leo. Okay, you're on their mind. We do also have adjacent possibilities. So you have multiple possibilities or options coming in. For Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. What do we have here for Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn? What do we have for this full moon in Leo? Why do we have adjacent possibilities, resistance, and apologies? Now, someone definitely has been resisting an apology to you, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. For this full moon in Leo, for Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, why do we have adjacent possibilities, the truth? Why do we have adjacent possibilities, apology, and resistance? Where is Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn's energy for the full moon in Leo? You're being asked to be strong, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Strength card with the Eight of Cups. And it might be too late to apologize. Dang it. I had to talk to the hand again. Oh no. I'm a Leo ascendant moon. It might be too late to apologize. Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, you're in this energy of strength card, taming that inner beast, right? Being in self-mastery and control of thyself, and then the Eight of Cups. Why do we have resistance? Why do we have secret admirer, forgiveness, apology, and resistance for Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn? Somebody actually does want to apologize. Maybe it's not too late. Maybe it is. I mean, you have a Ten of Pentacles over here. All right. Now you have the Knight of Cups, Eight of Wands. This is messages and news, and Two of Cups. So there definitely is someone who's going to come in. Whether or not you take the apology, though, is on you. For Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, for this full moon in Leo. For this full moon in Leo, for Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, why do we have the King of Swords? Why do we have Ace of Cups for Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn for this full moon in Leo? Oh, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Why do we have the Five of Wands and the Lovers card for the full moon in Leo for Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn? Why Five of Wands and the Lovers? Why Five of Wands and the Lovers? If somebody loves you, they protect your success. And I'll dive deeper into that. Where not, they, you know, not, how do I word this? If somebody truly loves you, they don't come in to bring you chaos. They would never want to bring you chaos. If someone loves you, they love what you have worked hard on. There's a lot of people that speak of love, but from an emotional, manipulative place. If you love someone, you pour onto their garden. This is what I'm seeing. If you love someone, say they're like a flower, right? You pour into their garden so that they grow. That's love. Where when you love someone, how has God designed you? I'm going to make sure that I'll do my best to keep you in the way that God designed you. But you're not going to take someone out of that. When I see Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, this full moon in Leo, you had to make a decision, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. What sign are we on? We are on Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn for the full moon in Leo. Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, you were very successful. Somebody comes in. Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, there's a lesson of love here. Where love allows you to grow and doesn't even allow you. It's not asking for permission. Love would never get in the way between your soul mission, you and God. You know how they say, like, till death do us part, of like, yeah, I'll just love you no matter what. This person wants to bring you into chaos. This is not, oh, I love you, and, you know, we could be in a box and still be in love. This person just wants you in a box. That's not love. This person does not care if their actions in this connection bring calamity or chaos to your success. That's not love. If somebody loves you, they protect what you've worked hard on. And if somebody loves you, they protect your soul mission, your soul purpose, all of those different things. Like, say, for example, right, you have a business. This person, you get into a relationship, you just meet someone you love, whatever it may be. F your business. I don't care. That's not love. This business, you know, you had something going on before they ever came into the picture. So that person should protect that, you know, unless things get in the way, right? It's different if you're in a relationship and you're with a workaholic that is just like, you know, whatever. You had success, you had it going on and you had success. Truth card. before this person ever came into your life. And so, you know, this person is it's a low-key emotional manipulator. And by low-key, I mean like, no, but we love each other and this, and that. No, this person, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, is walking into your life and is sabotaging all forms of your success so that they can have all of you. And that's where like it's hidden emotional manipulation. When you get into a relationship with someone that's not the end of whatever you've got going on or this or that, they can only add to it, but they're not going to take from it. Unless, you know, you fall in love and, you know, and like you walk away from everything and everyone, that's okay too. But if you love someone, you protect the foundation that they had before you. And that's not to say that that's everyone's story, right? Not all foundations are going to always go with us, right? You know, marriage, kids, this, that, it always switches up the foundation. But this person, you have to actually make a choice, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Is this romantic partnership worth losing all of your success that you already had? Would someone that actually loves you ask you of those things? I'm laughing a little bit because I see Mary Magdalene, and Mary Magdalene would never do that to Jesus. That's just what's coming through. When he came out that cave, he said, "Don't touch me." And I don't know what she said, but I'm sure she was just like, oh, I just waited here for days, 3 days. I thought you were dead. And you're saying, "Don't touch me." But I'm trying to make a point there. Yeshua, Magdalene are twin flames. And we already had our reading of twin flames today, Pisces. But Magdalene would never tell Jesus to not do a lot of things. And that's just something to, I guess, to take in, right? But by that, it's like true love, right? I'm using that as an example because Magdalene just let Yeshua, what are you doing, Yeshua? That's God's will. That's his divine design. That's his mission. It's what he's doing. Magdalene could have easily been very worried about a lot of things, and he still went out and did what he did. Magdalene was doing what she did with the women, and Jesus never tried to intervene or tell her to stop. Magdalene's living in her divine design. Yeshua lives in his. You honor that. And it's hard to honor that in your partner, in a partner. That's what I'm seeing here, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, where if you were to have a true partner, you know, again, there's boundaries. It's not to say to not have boundaries. Of course, your partner and you are going to have boundaries. But for someone to come into your life, change up everything, and tell you to bring chaos and calamity to your foundation of success that you had before this person ever came into your life, the energy here for you, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, is being strong to walk away. Love is great, but not if it's asking you to choose this person over everything and everyone, and how God is actually leading you. Now, we do have the Nine of Wands here. For Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, for the full moon in Leo, why the Two of Wands? This person's got you stuck, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. They've got you stuck. Okay, you got me reading like this for you, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. It's a choice. Yes, you're with that person, but this person is costing you. And this person is emotionally manipulating you, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, in the name of love. No, if you love someone, you water their garden around the garden so that the whole thing grows. You don't uproot it. You don't try to change it. And what I actually see, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, it is more worth you walking away for your success and for everything that you've built and everything that you're doing over love, because that is not love. But this is also someone that might be like, you don't love me. This is not love. Well, no, that's not love. All right, and that's what I'm seeing. You're with someone that just like sucked the life out of you. Someone who is kind of controlling. Someone who is not honoring and respecting your foundation. It's like, again, they want to be in your life, but they want all of you. And I mean by all of you, this is like a sucker that will just everything of yours. They want all your time. They want you to be around nobody else but them. They want you to not work as much on what you're working on. Now, why the Three of Wands for Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn for the full moon in Leo? What I do see is you need to set boundaries, or, you know, setting boundaries would be very helpful in this situation. And you do get a reward for hard work, okay? But overall, I really do see you walking away, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, from this connection. All right, now what's the advice for Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn for the full moon in Leo? What's the advice for full moon in Leo? Eight of Pentacles, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. And then we do have Pisces with the Hangman here. Eight of Pentacles. There's a big awakening here, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, when it comes to what you love and care about. And it's interesting here because there's people, relationships. There's also your work, your success, your dream or your business over here. You know, and that's what I'm seeing here. Eight of Coins, Queen of Cups, and then the Hangman. You're having an awakening of what's important and valuable to me, what's worthy and valuable to me. What am I unwilling as a Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn to sacrifice in my relationships? If it has to do with success, what I've built, this or that, no. And that's okay. That's okay to have that boundary. Okay, and that's what I see over here. Let's grab some cards of advice. What is a card of advice for Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn for the full moon in Leo? Patience. Patience again over here. Okay, so having patience in this situation. It does feel like everything works out. Scorpio, disrespectful. Scorpios can be very intense. What do we have for Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn for the full moon in Leo? What do we have for Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn for the full moon in Leo? Someone has a confession. Someone is a little bit angry. Okay, we do have angry. We have confessions, messages. Okay, so you might definitely be getting a message from this person. I see you walking away from this person, though. I really do. It says shocking over here. Trouble, unexpected. This is someone, again, but this is emotional manipulation where it was hard to spot. Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. And I'm saying that only because this person has demands, wants from you. But ultimately, they are actually kind of destroying your foundation. Okay, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Where... again, emotionally manipulative, but in love and romance. All right, that's what I have for you. Moving forward, calling back your power. And I do see you being successful in what it is that you're doing, okay? Doors closed, doors also open over here. All right, that is what I have for you, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. We are going to be doing some final messages for the full moon in Leo over here. All right. Thank you, Nick the Quick 9774. Thank you for your gift. Now we do have only you over here. Now for some of you, for the full moon in Leo, someone feels like there's no one like you. Someone wants to come in. It's just you. All right. Oh, sugar honey iced tea. Oh, loyalty. We have intuition, thinking. All right. We do have loyalty, trusting, reliability, and then believing over here. Full moon in Leo, for some of you, someone's actually going to choose you. This full moon in Leo. Okay, you are being chosen. I would say by God. You're already chosen by God. But for the full moon in Leo, there's someone that's being called to come forward towards only you. Okay, for some of you, you might be the only one. Now, it doesn't have to be romance. You are being selected or chosen. So this could be by a person. This could also be a job. I had to jump off the book. Too many. This Capricorn can't deal with Scorpio. Why do we have thinking, loyalty, only you, and intuition for the full moon in Leo? What do we have for this full moon in Leo? For loyalty, only you, intuition, and thinking. Oh, sugar, honey, iced tea. You do have over here fertility, potential, powerful, creative energy, and initiation energy. All right, now though, with all of this, you're being chosen for something here. Okay, this full moon in Leo, someone or an opportunity is choosing you. All right, and that's something you're going to receive for this full moon in Leo. All right, I'll grab a few more cards. What else do we have on this final message for the full moon in Leo? For thinking, loyalty, only you, intuition. You do have release fear over here. What do we have for this full moon in Leo? Victory is here. Kick defeat out the door. Sugar, honey, iced tea. This full moon in Leo, someone or something is choosing you, okay? It's an opportunity or a person, but that's it. Releasing fear, whether it be that person or you. You are being chosen. This full moon in Leo, there is victory and success. All right. Yeah, and it's powerful creative energy over here. When this person or this opportunity chooses you, your entire life is going to change, okay? And that's what I have for you for the full moon in Leo. All right, put it in those comments below. The universe is always conspiring in my favor. We'll be back for readings tomorrow or on Wednesday. All right, and Patreon members, we have a few videos and teachings that are uploaded for the online mystery school. So feel free to go check out our online mystery school, Blue Rose Mystery School, for all of you ancient high priests and high priestesses that know how energy works and are co-creating their reality, co-creating their soul legacies, and calling in all of the sacred wealth that's already yours. All right, but much love to you all, and happy full moon